Everyone wanted Sophia's life, the clothes, the access, the attention. But what no one knew was that every luxury she showed the world was slowly owning her. And that night, everything finally fell apart. She had just two people left: the best friend, who saw through her, and the man who saw too much. Lagos at night didn't sleep, it performed, and Sophie knew exactly how to perform with it. Hold on, don't post that yet, she said, adjusting the angle of her glass. Zuri watched quietly from across the table. You're not even going to drink it, she said. Sophia smiled faintly. I don't need to. It looks expensive. That was always the point, to look like you belonged. Their lives online were flawless. Rooftop brunches, sleek dresses, quiet luxury. Who didn't ask questions? They just admired. But Zuri wasn't watching the image. She was watching Sophia. And something about her had started to feel calculated. The next day, Sophia stood in front of the mirror, heart beating faster than usual. The designer bag on her shoulder wasn't hers. Just act natural, the voice notes had said. She inhaled slowly. Tonight wasn't just dinner. It was a room she had never entered before. And rooms like that didn't open twice. When she arrived, head turned, not because they knew her, but because they believed her. And believe was all she needed. Until it wasn't. There was an offer. It started as a compliment. You carry yourself so well, the man said, pouring her a drink. Sophia smiled politely. She had heard that before, but this time it came with something else. An offer. Subtle, unspoken, and dangerous. You deserve consistency, he added. I can make that easy for you. Sophia's finger tightened slightly around her glass. What do you mean, sir? Because nothing in Lagos is ever free. She knew that, but consistency was expensive. But Zuri had noticed it first. You've changed, Zuri said stiffly one evening. They were alone on the balcony. No cameras, no audience, just truth. Sophia didn't respond immediately. I'm just evolving, she finally said. Zuri shook her head slightly. No, you are adjusting. There was a difference, and they both knew it. One evening, when Sophia had left for a night out, she met a guy named Malik. Malik noticed her before he even spoke to her, not because she was loud, but because she was precise. Every moment controlled, every word measured. People like that were never relaxed. They were maintaining something. What part of your life? He asked her calmly. Would people be most surprised to understand? Sophia's eyes met with his, and for the very first time in a long time, she hesitated. I don't think people deserve to know everything. And Malik nodded, but in his silence, he understood enough. The following day, the city was quiet for once. No parties, no expectations, and no performance. Just Sophia and Malik on the balcony. You're different when you're not trying, Malik said gently. Sophia let out a small laugh. I don't even know when I'm trying anymore. There was a pause, the kind that felt full and not empty. Malik reached for her hand, not quickly, not urgently, but carefully, like he was asking permission without words. She didn't pull away, and for the very first time in a long time, Sophia felt something unfamiliar. Not admiration, not validation, but peace. And that scared her more than anything else. The next day, at night, Malik saw her. not at a party, and not with Zuri, but stepping out of a car that wasn't hers, with a man who looked like power and ownership. Their eyes met briefly, and Sophia froze, because in that second, she knew he already understood everything. The older man she was with had a conversation with her and told her he had someone special for her, that this person was going to take care of her and give her everything she ever needed. But Sophia was reluctant at first and said she was going to think about it. The next day, her card declined. In front of people, whispers started, phones turned, and suddenly, the life she had built so carefully started cracking, not loudly, but gradually. When Sophia got home that day, she sat in her apartment confused. She wasn't smiling, but she was upset. Something inside her snapped. The glass hit the wall first, shattering instantly, then the heels, then carefully arranged table. Everything she had placed so perfectly, she destroyed just as quickly. Is this what she wanted? She shouted, her voice breaking. Is this what it takes to be enough? Her hands trembled. None of it felt like hers anymore. By the time she collapsed to the floor, the apartment no longer looked like somewhere she had admired. It looked like the truth that she has been hiding, messy, heavy, and real. Malik and Zuri tried comforting her, but to no avail. Later, her phone rang. We need to talk now. It was the chief that met her earlier and told her he had something special for her. That evening, she met up with him, and that was how she met Kelvin. At first, Kelvin was sweet. He was nice. He did everything right. Days passed and weeks passed. Kelvin became more dangerous. He corrected and adjusted. Do not wear this. Don't laugh like that. Why are you replying him? At first, it felt like attention, like protection, like someone who cared so much. Until one night, he grabbed her by the wrist, a little too hard and not enough to bruise, but enough to warn. Sophia froze, and Kelvin smiled softly. Don't make me repeat myself. And somehow, she apologized. She became isolated. Zuri stopped coming around, not because she never wanted to, but because Sophia pushed her away. You don't understand this life, Sophia snapped. No, Zuri said quietly. I understand you're not safe. Sophia laughed it off, but deep down, she knew. She just wasn't ready to admit it. Because leaving Kelvin meant losing everything again. And she had already sacrificed so much. The first hit wasn't planned. It never is. She questioned him. Why are you always talking to me like that? And then the room went still. Her ears rang and her cheek burned. Kevin stared at her and started beating her slowly. You do not question me, he said quietly. And somehow that whisper felt scarier than the slap. Tears filled her eyes and she didn't leave. That's the part people never understand. She stayed. One night, at a party, Sophie stood in the corner, long sleeves, heavy makeup, and her hair covering part of her face. A mask, not for fashion, but for hiding. And then Malik saw her. At first, he wasn't sure, but something felt off. He walked closer. Sophia, she turned quickly. I think you've mistaken. He gently pulled her hand, and that was when he saw it. The bruise, fading, but still there. His expression changed instantly. Who did this to you, Sophia? Her voice dropped. It's nothing. It's not nothing. Please, she whispered, her eyes begging. Just leave it. That broke him, because he knew she wasn't just hiding bruises. She was hiding fear, but Malik didn't let it go. He found Kelvin, and this time he confronted him. You touched her again. We are going to have a problem. Kelvin smirked. A problem? He stepped closer. She's with me and not with you. And Malik's jaw tightened. And Kelvin laughed softly. You think she doesn't have a choice? And that line hit. Because deep down, Malik knew it. Sophia did have a choice, and she was still choosing Kelvin. After the night, after everything, she still went back. Not because she was weak, but because she was trapped mentally. Kelvin apologized, cut her things, held her hand gently. I just don't want to lose you, he said. And for a moment, it felt like love again. But that's how the cycle works: pain, apology, and hope. But this time, it was worse. Not louder, not more violent, just colder. He didn't even look angry anymore. That scared her more than anything, because now there were no emotions left, just control. And in that moment, something in Sophia finally snapped. Not dramatically, but quietly. I'm done, she said, and Kelvin didn't react. He just smiled. You will be back. But she said no, and for the very first time, she meant it. Days later, she found Malik. No makeup, no marks, and no pretending. I didn't leave the first time, she said. I didn't leave the second time either. Her voice cracked. But I left now. Malik looked at her, not with pity, but with understanding. Then she asked the question she was scared of. Do you still see me the same? And Malik shook his head. No. Her heart dropped. But then, I see you stronger, and that hits differently. Malik and Sophia's love started becoming real in time. No intense confession and no dramatic promise. Just small things. He was checking on her, walking with her, and sitting in silence. That was new, and that was unfamiliar, but it was real. And slowly, Sophia stopped looking over her shoulder. She started becoming herself again. Sophia didn't just leave Kelvin. She broke a version of herself. The one who accepted less. The one who confused control for love. The one that stayed when she should have walked away. And the one that thought luxury was the only thing that mattered. Zuri forgave her, not instantly, but fully. And Malik loved her, not loudly, but consistently. And Sophia, she finally understood something that cost her everything to learn. Love shouldn't hurt to prove it's real.